Before the paper, I knew they would say, and I knew by the looks on their faces. Niggas mad cause I did what they wouldn't do, say what I couldn't do. Look, bitch, I made it. I made it. Came a long way from the basement. Fighting on me, I ain't playing, y'all. These niggas ain't playing fair. If I would've known better, I'd do better. Took some mess and I learned from a new level. Bought some new shovels and some new stressors, and I'm ready for war like whoever. They counted me out, I can't count it all. Cause little nigga, I ball. I put them points on the board every time that I shoot, I'ma score, and you know I'm a dog. I'm really appalled, don't need no applause. I know I'm a legend, my name on the wall. First record with platinum, my second with gold. Did it independent, no deal at all. And they said it's impossible. Got them high cause I did them without them though. I'm the same nigga slept on the carpet floor. Even back then I knew that I'd be poppin', so I really ain't trippin'. I swear I ain't trippin'. I got in my feelings and got me a million. Couple people I thought would be with me, but they not, so it's fuck all them niggas. And then you next. Yeah. What's good? What's going on, family? What's going on with everybody, man? Definitely had a great fight weekend. I get my chance to talk my shit about the fight. So I'm definitely looking forward to talking about this fight that Jaron Boots Ennis had this past weekend, man. I could start anywhere. I can start anywhere, man. First, I want to welcome everybody in. Joseph Townsend in the building. Hello, world. Shawah. What's going on, Queen? Shalom. What's going on? What's happening? How you doing? Adrian, was good with you, man? What's going on? Yes, indeed. For sure. Man, it's been hot in the YouTube streets with these two, man. It's been a lot of lies being told, and I seen certain, streamers or YouTubers or whatever you want to, the catapult of the catapult of YouTube, and certain people lying and stuff. I'm like, damn, man, I sit back and like, damn, he said this. And it kind of made me wonder about certain people integrity. Certain people just don't have integrity, and that's okay. I know some people just do this for the check. You know what they say, for the love of money. Some people do this for the love of the money, man. They'll get up here and go, opposite of what the crowd say. They'll get up here and just spew bullshit and get with the algorithm. Some people got to get in the algorithm so they can attract more people. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I ain't on it, man. Thing about me is, I got integrity. Whether I got 2 people listening or whether I got 1,000 people listening, it's this word called integrity that a lot of people don't have, man. And that shit is it's an awful trait not to have, for sure. It's definitely an awful trait not to have, And of course, I'm starting to see it way far too much. Way a lot of lies, man. And people gonna spew bullshit. And that's okay. But again, now as a listener, you gotta have some integrity too. Because if you keep going over to these different channels that's lying and you listening to the bullshit, now, hey, what that make you? What that make you? But man, listen, great fight weekend. I gotta give it to Jaron Boots Ennis, man. I actually believe that it was a phenomenal performance. Despite the things that Stanley Jonas was going, had to endure, despite the things that he had to endure. People saying, he had the baby on the way. I love the babies. First off, foremost, congratulations to him and his wife. I'm not sure if she had the baby just yet or if he made it back in time, but I pray and hope he did. I pray and hope he did. Of course, family first. At the end of the day, this is just boxing. This is a job for them. And for the fans, they take every opportunity to shit on the fighter who putting their life on the line. Well, I know half of the fans who won't even get in the fucking ring,
That's the crazy part about it, man. But yeah, Jerome Boots Ennis, man, he put on a phenomenal performance. And I was hearing the people say, well, Stanley Onis been out the ring too long, and you know, he didn't look like himself. He was rusty, and this, and the third. But hey, at the end of the day, how long have we been said that these PBC fighters be out the ring too long? So, me as a fan, I don't want to hear that. Me as a fan, I don't want to hear that, man. People are saying, well, they've been out the ring too long, and they only fight 2 times a year. Who fault is that? Who fault is that? Stanionis potentially had a fight with Ortiz. You saw what happened there. You know that happened with Ortiz. What happened there? You know, uh, Stanionis. He had the opportunity, right? He had the opportunity to make some noise. Um, and I just think that, of course, as I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if Boot stopped him. I wouldn't be surprised if Stanionis had stopped him. I wouldn't be surprised if, Stanionis went the distance and it was a split decision, or vice versa for Jaron Boots Ennis. That fight drew no surprise from me. Um, Initially, I had said that I feel like it'd be like a split decision, considering the fact that Stanionis he has been a high volume puncher, but then you got to give your credit to Jerron Boots Ennis, who definitely didn't stand in front of him, right? Definitely didn't stand in front of him. Used lateral movement, kept turning him, spinning him, right? Stepping off from different angles, give him the work down low, and this time you got to say it was a clean fight with Jerron Boots Ennis. Got to say it was a clean fight. Wasn't worn for going low. Kept the body punches, significantly higher above the belt. I didn't see any rabbit punching from Jerron Boots Ennis. Kept it a clean fight, and he also looked better to me from the rehydration clause. He didn't have a rehydration clause in this fight from the IBF, right? So um, he looked good. He looked good. I know there was a couple of people chatting, oh, he looks too skinny and things of that nature. Yes, he was slim around the waist, as you did see Stanionis a little. I guess you could say a little thick around the waist, um, around the waist, or towards the core, right? But that didn't mean anything. Stanionis with the high guard, it actually hurt his chances of really maintaining and doing something. Now, of course, I did think that Jerome Boots and the speed would be predominantly a factor. Stanionis does have a nice extended jab, but the thing about it was his jab was extremely too slow. By the time he throw a jab, Jerome Boots enters, counters the jab, um, counters the jab with the 1-2, or he can go 3-4. And a lot of times he was really going 3-4 simply because Stanionis' chin was over his toes. You know, his chin was over his toes. And then of course, with Stanionis applying the pressure, almost made it simple, simply made tailor made for Jerome Boots Ennis. Tailor made. He gonna eat you up every time. You know, he gonna eat you up every single time. That's just what he does, right? Especially if you don't have the same, if you can't match his athletic ability. If you can't match that, it's gonna swallow you up. Um, I like the fact that Jerome Boots Ennis, of course, like I said before, was spinning him around. And then he did notice that, I think it was in the third round when he got, kind of got a little spicy in there, a little started showboating a little bit, and he was feeling himself. And started noticing that I think Bozy pointed it out in the corner, throwing the uppercut to the midsection, because it was definitely there. He said, "Hey man, hey, look, check it. He's putting his chin over his toes. Throw the uppercut. It's there." And he wasn't lying. He split the guard with it. He in the high guard. He split the guard coming up the middle. I mean, Stanley wasn't giving nothing away. I wasn't giving him too much to work with. He was going around the guard, right? You stay in the high guard, those things can happen. You go around the guard, which I thought Jaron Boots Ennis could do anyway, right? Has the length on his arms to do it. Um, uh, Godson was good. What was going on, man? Was good. Trey Titans 176. Great week in the fight. Looking forward to seeing what's next. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's next as well. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's next. A condo in the building was good with you. Was good. Hello world. Yeah, so. So yeah, man, I actually thought it was a good fight, man. Like I said before, you can't take nothing away from Boots. Um, has he looked like that in his past previous fights? Absolutely not. One of the considering factors that I took in is that he's a hell of a lot different without having to weigh in for a second time. That strict weigh-in measurement with IBF. He looked totally different, right? He looked totally different. I'm not going to say his name, but I spoke with a coach, before that fight, and we just talked about the fight, and he was like, my only thing, looking at Jaron Boots' prior fights, he did tell me, he said, man, I think he looked better this night than he has any other night after, becoming champion of the IBF. And I asked him why he said that. He said, because, man, listen, you got to understand. And he knows that I've seen Boots outside of boxing, especially when they didn't have a fight coming up. And he is he's not stalky, but he is a big guy. I believe Jaron Boots Ennis can actually fight at 60. He's a big dude. You know what I mean? Um, and he said that I believe that Jaron Boots Ennis, not only that he cuts weight, but I believe that he cuts a lot of muscle as well. And him having to weigh in for that second take straight time is weighing on his body. Now he said I can't say that he can't make the weight because obviously he went out and weighed, went out and got a trainer, not trainer, but I'm sorry, a nutritionist for this fight. And you see how he replenished. In which that was a considering factor of me and this trainer. Like I said, I won't say his name, but he said, man, he just haven't looked like himself. But he said, I guarantee you, he'll look like himself tonight because he don't have that restriction tonight, and it come to fruition, and he did. Right, he looked fucking phenomenal. He really did. I know people say, he gets hit a lot and things of that nature. I mean, my thing is, what fighter don't get hit a lot? People will say, well, Floyd didn't get hit like that. Floyd perfected that, and when you got a guy like Jaron Boots Ennis, Jaron Boots Ennis, he has a flashy defense, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But his offense, his best attribute is his offense. His offense make up for the defense. Who gets hit a lot? Right? But at the end of the day, it's boxing. You're gonna get hit. He's still young, so he's gonna go for if you got him hurt, if he's feeling himself, he's not respecting your power, he's gonna go for it. He's what you call a gunslinger. He's gonna go for it. So I don't really buy into everybody saying that he get hit too much and this and the third and da 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 da. I mean, he's gonna go for it. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. So I watched. I ain't gonna say I watched. I sat back and just looked at a different people just talk about the fight, and I feel like some people had fair assessments about the fight, but you gotta give him credit, man. You gotta give him credit. Jose Diaz was good. Likewise, have we seen a fighter match Jaron Boots Ennis' athleticism in the ring? No, we haven't. No, we haven't. I've seen this one content creator, I forget his name. He was talking about, can we say that Karen was good compared to Jaron Boots Ennis? Well, me personally, I don't think so. Right. First of all, I know fans, they didn't even know who the fuck Karen Chikaduzian was in the first place. Uh, and it's basically because a lot of people claim to be hardcore fans or claim to be, oh, watch this guy, watch that guy. But as soon as you say, oh, he's fighting this guy, you don't know who he is. You can't tell one thing about it. Oh, he's going to clean him up in 8 and it end up going a distance. Well, first off and foremost, Karen Chikaduzian, number one, number one, he specifically trained to move around for the first fight. And that's why I tell people, if you've been over here with me, uh, especially if you've been over here with me, I've been stressing for you last 2 years. Hey, watch the build up to the fight. Not I mean, the I guess you call it quote unquote 24/7s. Watch the build up to the fight. Just watch it. You'll go back and see Karen actually training to move around the ring in the first fight. But what's crazy about it is this. If you go watch Karen fights, although they are boring, if you go watch his fights, you would have known that he don't even fight like that. Like I said, and it sounds like I'm regurgitating this shit because I've said it before. You know Karen don't move around in the ring like that. But because he did it in the first fight, that's how I knew that a lot of people didn't even know who he was or anything of that nature. Because if you knew that, you would say, damn, why he fight like this? Which had me throwed off for a minute because I'm like, damn, why Karen fight like this? He don't fight like this. But he trained for that fight that particular way. Came back the second fight and fought his normal self, his normal how he normally fights. And I actually think that he did a good job at it. I thought it was tough. I thought it was, and I still think he's durable. But he didn't have the same athleticism as Jaron Boots Ennis has. You can look at Roman Villiers. Didn't have the same athletic ability that Jaron Boots Ennis had. We damn sure know. We damn sure know his other fighters wasn't as well. I've seen the last 4 fighters stand right in front of Boots. You cannot do that. You cannot just come forward and stand right in front of him. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work, and he's not going to allow it. He does well with those type of fighters. No, I will see everybody say Boots the goods and this, and the third, but in actuality, it's still kind of hard to gauge. You know what he can do. Yeah, we all know what he can do. But have we seen him in the ring with somebody just as athletic as him? We haven't. And you'd be lying through your fucking teeth if you say you have. The same attributes. A guy who can throw shots on the run, pop shots you when he wants to, take a little bit off of it, spin you around. Same thing, Boots cutting angles, right? The same. I'm not gonna say a mirror, but we haven't seen nobody come close to at least 50%, of the same attributes that he has. So it's still hard to gauge. Before it's right now, you can say he's the goods. But what fighter in his last 5-6 fights have you seen come close to at least 50% of his attributes? You haven't. You haven't. So, and like I said before, you can't take nothing away from the performance at all. But that's like the same scenario. A person walking in, the person who did at least show something different was Karen. So that's what we got to gauge off of, which had at least 25% of the attributes that Boots has. Nowhere close to 50%. Nowhere close to 50%. I watched Boots. He don't have a fill out round, right? Boots, he start fast. And the thing about it is you have to make him respect you. You have to make Boots respect you. One of the things that I talked about is taking control center of the ring. And that's one of the first thing I said. If you go back and watch the video on my prediction, uh, it's gonna come down to who controlled the middle of the ring the fastest. One thing's for certain, two things for sure. Boots don't have a fill out round. I've been saying it for the last 2, 3 years. In fact, I want to know where the hell all these people come now talking about Boots, because I think if I remember correctly, I was literally like one of the first people talking about Jaron Boots Ennis in the welterweight division. I was one of the first people to say if there was one fighter in the welterweight division to disrupt undisputed between Bud and Spence, it would be Jaron Boots Ennis. When I said that, you know how much backlash I got? Do you guys understand how much backlash I got when I said that? Oh, you tripping? He ain't fought nobody. This, and the third, and booty, 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 and da 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 da. No. I stood on what I said. I said if there was one person to disrupt undisputed in the welterweight division at the time that Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. was in the welterweight division, if there was one person to disrupt it, it would be Jaron Boots Ennis. I got multiple lives saying that. But all I get is Jaron Boots Ennis fans coming over here. Man, you just hating on Boots. How the fuck am I hating on Boots when I was talking about him before you believed in him? Ain't that some shit? Yeah, that's some shit. Now all of a sudden you're a big time Boots fan. Hey man, hey. Slow your roll. Slow your roll. Them videos still up there. They got dates on it. That's my receipts. Where's yours? And I still stand on that. A lot of guys weren't talking about Boots on here, man. This is the part that I get out of it. This the enjoyment that I get out of it, because I remember, hey man, when everybody was doubting Bud because of his resume. Oh, he ain't fought no. And look, and you want to know the crazy thing about it? This shit slick happening again. It's slick happening again. I was one of the main ones on here. Hey man, listen. Y'all shitting on Bud Crawford resume. But at the same time, if you shitting on Bud Crawford resume, you shitting on Earl Spence resume. Well, how you say that? Well, because if you doubting Bud and Bud beat your man, what that say about your man? That's why I say, man, you always got to give both fighters their just due. No matter who you rocking with. And then that's when everybody start, oh no, you got to pick a side. Man, I ain't got to pick shit. Not me. I ain't got to pick shit. Because I know how this shit go. And then what it was. And God knows I love Earl Spence Jr. But we saw what happened. A lot of people went hiding. A lot of people had to go talk about another fighter. You know what I mean? It happens. It's boxing, man. It's boxing. WCS in the building say Ennis should have fought earlier. He might weight drain to unify in 2026. I believe that as well. John Wick, what do you think who do you think would have won between a Crawford versus Boots? I don't know. Only thing I was saying during that time, I say, hey, Jaron Boots Ennis should be mentioned in this conversation between Earl, Boots. At the time, Ugas was there. Because at the time I was saying Jaron Boots Ennis' name, Ugas and Spence hadn't even fought. In fact, when I was saying Jaron Boots in his name, Bud and what's his boy? What that boy name is? Bud and which color haven't even fought yet. They was getting ready to fight. Um, Football player Sean Porter. They haven't even fought. Go check my receipts. Go check my receipts. You deal what I'm saying? Go check my receipts. I was talking about Boots before them. Before then. So it goes back to saying this. I've been saying that Jaron Boots Ennis was one of the guys to be forced to reckon with. If you looked at how he was being moved by Cameron Duncan, right? How he was being moved, I was like, damn, this is pretty damn good. Then, of course, I know that Cameron Duncan also had Brian Norman Jr. Actually, Cameron Duncan came into play, I want to say around, I think Brian might have been 10-0 or something like that. Probably 8 or something like that. I remember when me and Brian Norman Jr. was fighting on the same cards. I think we don't fought on the same cards like 3-4 times when he was headlining. You know? But then, like I said, I'm going to get back on track. But when I look at this fight, one of the things I seen, you stand in front of him, he's going to box circles around. I know people talk about standing on his feet and things of that nature, and it could have been, or he been out the ring for too long, and this, and the third, and I understand that. But again, if Jaron Boots Ennis do not respect your power, and you standing in front of him, close the door. It's going to be a short night, for sure, for sure. But what we do have to see is someone who can at least match Jaron Boots Ennis' athleticism at 50%. That's the thing that nobody's talking about. People always say, well, styles made fights. Well, obviously, we've seen Jaron Boots Ennis fight the same style for the last damn 6 fights. It's outside of Karen. But if you want to count Karen the second fight, there it is. I believe that they prepared for Karen to move around the ring the second time. And then also believe that the IBF rehydration clause was causing a lot of that as well. I also know that Eddie Hearn was speaking about Jaron Boots Ennis going back to Philly to fight. So, and this where the integrity of the fans that I actually see, and I'm like, hey man, I gotta question some of these people's integrity. I see Jaron Boots Ennis. I think they say he did 19,000 or something like that the first time in Philly. Then he did a certain a number less than, I think they said it was 14 the next time he fought, and then he did 9. Now he's going back to Philly to fight. Well, as a businessman, that only makes sense for Eddie Hearn to go back to Philly. Because if you did 14 and then you doing what? You did 14 and then you did you did 14 and then you dropped down and did what? I think they said the last one was 9 or something like that. You gotta go back. You gotta go back to Philly. As a businessman, I'm losing. From 14 to 9, come on now, do the math. I got to go back to 14, 10, and 9 or something like that, right? Now, I'm not too, knowledgeable on the numbers, but I was listening in on this podcast, and that's what they were saying. Now, how true those numbers are, I'm going by based off what this podcaster was saying. So if those are the numbers, my integrity tells me that you're going back to Philly because they want you to do the 14 because you didn't do the 14 that you initially did the last 2 times. So as a businessman, as if I'm Eddie, as a businessman, yes, I'm going back to Philly. Absolutely. But here's where it get tricky. Here's where it get tricky. People will say, "Oh well, he need to fight Brian Norman Jr." Here's where it get tricky. People will say he need to fight Brian Norman Jr. Right? Well, people say, "Oh well, he already ducked. Brian Norman Jr. already ducked." Hmm. Well, the initial offer was 750,000. Barrios and Stanionis' initial offers was 1.5 and 1.7. 1.5 and 1.7. But a lot of y'all didn't know that. So then I think somebody asked, nobody has, I never seen in anybody chat that I've just sat back and listened. Nobody asked, well, what has Stanionis and Mario Barrios done to get those initial offers? Because we know, of course, Buativ, outside of Buativ, who did he fight? Well, then you talk about Mario Barrios. Well, he's known for getting knocked out by Tank. At the time, Tank was really like 130, 135 ish. Fought him at 140. And then he stopped him like the 10th, 11th round or something like that. Then his very next fight, he goes and fight who? Keith Thurman. And when he got his face rearranged. So we know Mario Barrios from those two fights. And then if you look at it from his past fight, some people thought Ramos won that fight. So what makes 750,000 to give to Brian Norman Jr. between the other two champions who was all initial offers 1.5 and 1.7? Now, here's where things get sticky. Because I know for a fact that Boots Ennis and Brian Norman Sr. have spoken. The very first conversation, it was congratulations. Y'all handle what y'all got to handle on y'all side of the street between both sides, and then we'll come together for Undisputed. That's how it initially started. Everything was good. But then you let the fans, and then the first person to say something was Jaron Boots Ennis. Go back to the interview and watch for yourself. Jaron Boots Ennis said, "Oh, they don't want to fight. We already offered him." One thing I do congratulate Brian Norman Jr. and Brian Norman Sr. on is not name dropping, because they could have easily name dropped during the whole time of this fake negotiation was going on. Could have name dropped and said, "Well, damn, y'all want me to take 750, and these other two champions got 1.5 and 1.7. We ain't watching their money, but we know." Not one time. You didn't hear it till after the fact. Now, then Bozy say he didn't know anything about, being offered after Jaron Boots and spoke out about it. I'm just taking you guys down the timeline. Bozy Ennis said he didn't know anything about it. Well, once he did find out about it, that's when things got real interesting. Of course, we know Brian Norman Sr., was very vocal about, he wanted his son to make his first million. And a lot of that was before he knew that, Top Rank would get a percentage because of, the deal out fighting outside, which wasn't which wasn't a factor at the time because he didn't know. But once he found out about it, it was like, oh, when we make this meal, we got to go up a little bit. But what's interesting is I also heard Jaron Boots Ennis say his last fight he made 100,000, which is not true. he was speaking of Brian Norman, said that he made 100,000, which is not true. Then he said, "Well, would you take 100,000 or 2 million?" And everybody in the room said, "Well, of course you take the 2 million." Well, Jaron Boots Ennis was lying about that too, because they never offered 2 million. That's the number that they tried to get to. Trust and believe, if that was the number that they got to, it would have happened. Jaron Boots Ennis also told you, and here's where my integrity comes in at, right? He also said in the same sentence, in the same breath, "I took a pay cut for this fight to happen." Wait a minute. Wait. This is where integrity comes in at. Wait a minute. You took a pay cut, right? You took a pay cut, but Barrios and Stanionis, one of them was 1.5 for Barrios, 1.7 for Stanionis. You still haven't heard the numbers on how much Stanionis made for this fight. I know. I know. No, I ain't pocket watching. I'm just trying to put it all together because I see all these different hardcore fight fans supposedly and all these different channels that's supposed to be hardcores spew bullshit. So if I'm being modest, you took a pay cut. Standing on this initial offer was 1.7. You moved the fight and took a pay cut when you could have just moved the fight and Brian Norman would have taken the 750,000 like they said the first time. I'm just trying to figure this shit out. So basically what you're telling me is you took a pay cut and moved the fight and put Stanionis well above 2 million. Well above 2 million. Well above 2 million. You took a pay cut, gave Stanionis well above 2 million, and moved the fight. When you already had an ultimatum to move the fight and still give him 750,000. I'm just trying to figure out the whole ducking thing. Because if I tell you, well, shit, if you ain't gonna up the ante on the price, well, then just move the fight. But come to find out, you moved the fight and took a pay cut. Whoa, wait a minute. I'm just saying, you can't blame me for understanding and seeing what's going on. Now, they always say it's 3 sides to a story. It's the Norman side, it's the boot side, and it's the truth. As I can see it, the truth is Eddie Hearn didn't want to fight. Notice I didn't say Boots didn't want to fight. Notice I didn't say Norman didn't want to fight. I said Eddie Hearn. But we seen Eddie do this time and 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 time again. What is it going to take for y'all to actually see what this man is doing? Blue-eyed Barbie ain't shit, man. Ain't nothing new. Ain't nothing changed. He did the same shit to Deontay Wilder. I'm well too familiar with this story. I'm way too familiar. But what I don't see is hardcore fans, supposedly, different channels pointing this shit out. That's what I don't see. I just don't see it. Stop me where I'm wrong. I just don't see. Why don't nobody point this shit out? Again, I ain't say nothing bad about Boots. I ain't say nothing bad about Norman. I talked about Eddie. That's what people are not talking about, man. Come on. It don't make sense. You blatantly came out in your press conference and said he don't want to fight. Oh, He made 100,000 last fight. Well, number one, his minimum is 300. That's Brian Norman's minimum right now. So that's a lie. Then number two, the second lie was 2 million. If it was 2 million, I'd be fighting. That was the number that they wanted. That was the number that they wanted. It would have been a fight. Never came close to 2 million. Then you said you took a pay cut and you moved the fight. Now that I know you moved the fight, why you do that? Why you take a pay cut and move the fight? That don't make any sense. Because you could have kept what you was gonna make, moved the fight, and still gave Brian Norman 750,000, which was the initial offer. After they told you guys, well, if you're not gonna pay us what we want, at least move the fight so we can make the fight if you move the fight. Didn't want to do that. Now that I know both of those happened, now that I know you took less money and moved the fight, it lets me know one thing, and it's not hard to see. Eddie Hearn did not want to fight. Jaron Boots Ennis wants to fight. He's a fighter. Brian Norman Jr. wants to fight. He's a fighter. That's not hard to see. But it's the integrity of the fans. That's why I'm different. I can't do the go along, get along. I can't do that. I can't just, get on here and spew bullshit because just to get in the algorithm. I can't do that. Eddie Germ is a real snake. He always trashing black fights. Who ain't signing him? Clown ass Eddie. I know for sure. But I'm just trying to get people to understand my logic. And I know my logic. I'm far from stupid. And why does he keep bringing Brian name into this shit? He never say anything about Mario. Exactly. As a reporter, if I'm the reporter, right? If I'm at the fight, I see Eddie. Eddie, your fighter just said he took less money and you moved the fight. Why do that when you could have moved the fight and just gave Brian Norman 750,000? That's why I asked in my head, do the fans really want to see the Brian Norman Jr. fight? Or is that just the next thing you want to see because that's the next champion? Because it makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to y'all, but it damn sure makes sense to me. I don't know. Maybe I can't get through some of y'all thick ass score. But what I do know is this. Both of those guys are free right now. I do know Eddie Hearn said we're not waiting. Well, you also did say that, you talked to Bob and they want to make the fight happen. So which one is it? You talk to Bob and want to make the fight happen, or you're not waiting? I don't understand. I'm going by what's being said from them directly. That's what I'm looking at. What's being said. What I do also know is this, and I can tell you this. I was on the phone with Norman Sr. watching the press conference. After Bozy said what he said, he personally texted Bozy and said, y'all don't have a fight. We don't have a fight. We fight next. Boots Ennis fight should be Brian Norman next fight. Do you think Bozy Ennis replied? Today is Wednesday. Do you think Bozy Ennis replied? Send your text Bozy and say, we should fight next. Y'all don't have a fight. We don't have a fight. Jaron Boots Ennis' next fight should be Brian Norman Jr. Let's get it. That's what Norman Sr. text Bozy. Today is the 16th. Well, it's getting ready to be the 17th. So we can say 3 days ago. 3 days ago was a Monday. So I guess what Jaron Boots Ennis fought what April 12th. I'm just saying, man. I'm looking at what's being said and what's being done. I don't know what y'all listening to, who y'all listening to, or what, but like a condo said, the math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing, man. It don't make any sense. You know, shout out to Greg Hackett. I know Greg Hackett. I met Greg Hackett. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Of course, he's going to talk shit. I don't have no ill feelings towards Greg Hackett. He's going to talk shit. That's what he's supposed to do. His man's his Boots. But I got integrity. I know Brian Norman Jr. is like a little brother to me. I still got integrity. It ain't hard to see. I heard this one channel was saying that Brian Norman Jr. was out of town. He wasn't in the gym or whatever they were saying. Brian Norman Jr. was in the gym on Monday, Tuesday, and today. In fact, I pulled up to the gym yesterday and talked with junior and senior for about a good 35 to 45 minutes. So I don't, like I said before, I don't know what channels y'all be listening to or who y'all getting y'all information from, man. Just make sure that person have integrity. That's the only thing I can really say. Because I sit through, and like a lot of times, like I say before, I just come in. I might don't comment in the chat, but I damn sure be listening. And it'd be a lot of bullshit being spewed. It'd be a lot of bullshit being spewed, man. And hey, but if y'all like it, I love it. But I'm gonna tell the truth. I know that. In fact, I wouldn't even went to see it, and people say, well, he should have been at Boots' fight. Why y'all want saying Boots should have been at his fight? I don't understand. He ain't got to go to that man fight. Boots ain't got to go to Brian fight, and Brian ain't got to go to his fight. If the fans want this so bad, right? If the fans want this so bad, why y'all not bigging up the fight? Why y'all not bigging up both fighters? That's the part that would make sense. Because this shit really turned into the same shit how we seen Bud and Boots. Integrity, man. Integrity. That's the thing. Integrity. Integrity. Cousins say them niggas don't want to fight. They turn down the most money they ever going to make. Top Rank don't even got the money Matchroom do. Oh my God. And they gave them the most money he's going to make. Shit. All right, cousin. All right. So 750,000. Let's see where your integrity at. 750,000 was the initial offer. 1.5 went to Barrios. 1.7 went to Stanionis. Initial offers. Initial offers. Help me understand. Jaron Boots, okay, the final offer. Jaron Boots Ennis took a pay cut and moved the fight to a different city. Stanionis made well over $2 million. His initial offer was 1.7. Outside of Buatif, who did Stanionis fight? The initial offer for Barrios was 1.5, who was known being knocked out by Gervonta Tank Davis. At the time, he was 130 pounds, 135-pound fighter fighting at 140. Was knocked out. Also fought Keith Thurman, got his face rearranged. So my question, cousin, if Jaron Boots Ennis took a pay cut and moved the fight to give Stanionis well over $2 million, the initial offer to Barrios was 1.5, and he pretty much lost his last fight against Ramos. What has those two fighters, or the other two champions at the time, done that Brian Norman Jr. hasn't done? That's just food for thought. It's called integrity, brother. It's called integrity. Because if I'm a reporter, I'm at the fight. Well, damn, Eddie, you made your fighter take a pay cut and you moved the fight and you did lesser numbers than you did in Philadelphia. Now you got to go back to Philly. Because if I do remember correctly, all you had to do was move the fight and still pay them $750,000. Something that they agreed to. Come on, man. Come on, man. Now we getting the goalpost move, man. That's why I say, man, listen. That's why I say, man, like, again, it's called integrity. Some people got it, some people don't. And the ones who don't, I totally understand. I totally understand. I totally understand, because it's called integrity, man. That shit is, hey, man, that shit is insane. You know what I'm saying? That shit is insane, dog. That's the crazy part about it, But like I say, I don't blame Boots. I don't blame Brian Norman Jr. I blame Eddie Hearn. It's there. You can see it. It's written on the wall. You know what I mean? It's written on the wall. You know what I mean? However you want to look at it, man. That's crazy. That's way crazy, man. But that's my only thing. I just ask the fans if that's the fight that they really want, because it seems to me as they really don't want the fight. Because you can't tear down one fighter to big up the other fighter. If y'all saying Brian Norman Jr. ain't shit, he ain't this, he ain't that, then why do you want to see it? Then why you want to see it? He said Norman a C-level fighter. Well, shit, if Norman a C-level fighter, what is Barrios? What is Stanionis? Why want to see it? Why? The best case is just leave the fight alone. Same thing that was going on with fucking Bud and Earl. Bud fans was shitting on Earl resume. Spence fans was shitting on Bud resume. It's the same shit. Somebody had to take a loss, Brother, do you see what you're writing? You said Barrios not running his mouth like Norman Sr. Last time I checked, it's only two people who got to get in the ring named Norman Jr. and Boots Ennis. Who gives a fuck what Norman Sr. saying? He ain't got to get in the ring. Again, it's called integrity. It's only two people getting in the ring, man. And if you know Norman Jr., he really don't even talk like that. Again, do you want to see the fight? That's the question. All that other shit don't matter to me. Shit don't matter, man. We talking about shit that is irrelevant. I don't give a fuck what Senior talking about, man. That's what he's supposed to do. When Bozy talk his shit, that's what he's supposed to do. It's only 2 fighters getting in the ring. Them niggas ain't fighters no more. Mr. Ishmael, Peace State, YouTubers ain't Norman was more active than 2 other champs, but got offered least of the 3. It is a horrible negotiator with black opponents. Thank you, brother. It's now that right there is called integrity. That is called integrity. Thank you, brother. Kondo said these dummies talking out their ass. It's like talking to a turd swimming in a toilet. Barrio's talking about fighting damn Pacquiao, and no one is calling him a duck. Come on, man. Come on, man. But then they'll say, well, Boots is going to be the most money that Brian Norman ever made. Shit, because Jen Sasaki talking $2 million up front. What y'all talking about, man? What y'all talking about? Joseph Townsend say niggas believe everything Eddie says, but forgot Devin had to leave Eddie to become undisputed, and niggas can't even make a big fight Eddie made without Big Turk. See, that's a whole different conversation with the whole with Turkey and Eddie. That's yeah. I had to spew that another day. I had to get on that another day. I had to get on that another day. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know, Eddie was just a puppet. But yeah, we'll get on that another day. Come on, man. I'm just, you know, like I said before, it's cool with the shit talking between the 2 sides or whatever like that. That shit don't bother me. What bothers me is the integrity of fans. That's the shit that bothers me. You know what I mean? Like that shit really do, because I sit back and I'm like, damn, how y'all miss this information? Or is it that you know, because what I see, I'm gonna be honest with you. What I see is, I don't know who's the first YouTuber to get on, but I get up in the morning, you know, I see people making videos, you know, and quote me on this. People have the right to their own opinion. People have the right to their own opinion. But what I also know is, behind this computer, you can see what the hot topic is. You can see what the people want you to say or what the people don't want you to say. You can see that. So people gonna find their little way and they little work, they move into the money, because for them it's all about money. That's why I be questioning people's integrity. So when I see the first person wake up in the morning, they do their stream, they get popping, they say this. The next person use the same information that their YouTuber just said, popping their shit. Got every whoop, root, rah in the chat. And the next YouTuber get on, use the same 2 information that the other 2 just used, rah in the chat. And then that information gets long about 4 o'clock in the evening time. They done use everybody else's information. And by the nighttime, the same shit get regurgitated. And then I start to question people's integrity. I'm just saying, that's how that shit goes. If y'all ever have time, again, I don't always have time to go live, but I always got time to listen. It don't cost me nothing to tap into your live, hit the like button, sit right there and just listen to what you got to say. But if I'm hearing the same shit from 7 o'clock in the morning all the way to 9 o'clock at night, what this person that said, it's just reused information, but ain't nobody really having the integrity to speak up on certain shit. It's about more than the money sometimes. What's up, 817? My brother, what's happening? It's about more than money. That's why I sit here like, damn, hold on, wait a minute. If y'all hearing this shit, why ain't none of the 7 people I listen to today point that shit out? Because it ain't hard for me to understand. Because if I'm Jaron Boots Ennis, you're telling me you moved the fight and you took a pay cut. Now, I know everybody on YouTube heard Brian Norman Sr. say out his own mouth, if they move the fight, we'll take the $750,000. Nobody ain't spoke on that. You mean to tell me ain't nobody gonna say nothing about that? But they gonna continue to call him a duck. But ain't nobody said, well, damn, why the hell y'all moved that fight? Y'all could have just kept it in Philly and still did the 14,000. Because they saying he only did 9,000 this fight, which is, what, an hour and a half down the road. So you moved the fight, did less than what you did prior at 14,000. You paid Stanionis more when you could have just say, okay, well, we're gonna move this fight to Atlantic City, and we just gonna give you 750,000. Boom, the fight was made right there. Hey, you can't make this shit make sense, man. You can't make this shit make sense to some people, and that's okay because everybody don't have integrity. It ain't an amount of money you can pay me to disrespect me, and there's multiple ways to do that. No, for sure, bro. Come on, man. You know that. No, for sure. They don't like to listen to the black men who are outspoken on behalf of their son. Of course. I see that with Bill and Devin. But Bozy's speaking, he's speaking too, but then again, like I say, I'm able to call people out on their bullshit. But with the two teams between the Bozy, Jaron and Mr. Bozy and Mr. Senior and Mr. Junior, what they say is between them. You know what I'm saying? That shit between them. So that shit don't bother me. What bothers me is with the fans, the integrity part of it. Because I'm sitting here to able to call out bullshit. Now, one person who can vouch for me, well, 2 people who can vouch for me that I know of in this chat right now. I know 817. No, I told 817, what I say? I said, if there was one fighter who could upset the whole welterweight division when Earl and Bud was, trying to negotiate their fight. I said, if it was one fighter in the welterweight division who can break that shit all up, who did I mention? I personally call 817. I personally call 817. I say, hey, bro, shit, man, hey, check this out right here. That's before Sean Porter and Bud fought. That's before Earl and Ugas fought. Appreciate that, bro. I've been saying that for years. So if I've been saying that for years, how the hell we get all of a sudden? How the hell we get all these Jaron Boots Ennis fans? And then on top of that, ain't nobody keeping that integrity intact. Come on, man. Cut it out. My video is still up. My receipts still up, dog. My receipt's still up, dog. It's called integrity, man. That shit crazy, man. But I believe that is a fight that should be next. But then again, when you got Eddie saying, well, I spoke to Bob and Bob said he want to make the fight. And then in the same breath says, We're not rating around on nobody. What do you mean? It's either you is or you ain't. So that's the part that, like, I listen to what, more than anything, I listen to what the promoters are saying. Shit crazy, man. Man say, is Jaron Boots Ennis going to, is Brian Norman going to Jaron Boots Ennis? Or he's scared because he ain't go to the fight. Shit, that man wanted to go and enjoy his fruits of the labor, just like when Brian Norman was fighting, Jaron Boots Ennis was doing the same exact thing, enjoying his fruits of labor. Shit crazy, man. And I know people like to bring up the sparring sessions and shit like that. I think the whole thing that's funny about that is people only talk about the first 2 sparring sessions. They sparred 7 different times. Brian Norman Jr. gonna keep it 1,000% with you on what took place, as he did with me several occasions. His first time ever sparring Jaron Boots Ennis, he turned around a week later, well, 4-5 days later, and sparred Bud. That shit actually made him better, man. And if you think that somebody stays the same for 4 years, you're absolutely wrong. And Greggy Carmichael was there. Salute to Greggy Carmichael. What's up, my guy? I met Greggy Carmichael at that fight. For sure. Why ain't nobody telling these 47 pounders go to his fight? Motherfuckers ain't got to go to Boots' fight. Shit. These other champions ain't going to these other people fight like that. So I know Devin on the way, but we haven't seen him at that weight. Right. Okay. 817. I know that, but this, like I was saying, this is almost playing out like the Boots. The Bud and Earl situation. Because here we go down the resume. Oh, he gonna get knocked out. Or or the sparring sessions this. Shit, bro. I just don't like him. His dad talks too much. Da da da. It's the same shit, man. Come on, man. Like, where's the integrity, bro? Like, we ain't learned the first time. But no, I one chat Brian Norman was on. He was on vacation. He ain't been training. Man, that nigga been training since he been back in Atlanta on Sunday. What are you talking about? He got off the plane and went to go work out. What are you talking about? I was in the gym with him yesterday. And if you think he ain't working those shit, then hey, that's what you think. I know he is. But you can't go spew that bullshit to your fans, man. Hey, man, you can't go spew that bullshit, man. Because it's my word against your word. And one thing about people know I got integrity. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta make B stop because that motherfucker won't stop. That's for sure. Jaron noticed when it was Earl and Bud, Jaron was the only other threat. I agree. Brian just got to keep doing what he doing. That's all he got to keep doing, man. Keep doing what he doing. That's it. But people say, "Oh, the biggest bag he gonna make is with Jaron." Shit, I know Jen Sasaki willing to pay what Jaron Boots Ennis wasn't willing to pay. He's an obvious threat. That's why he catching so much hate. Yeah, I understand that though, but at some point you got to question, like, I understand that, trust me, I do, I get it, but at some point you got to question the integrity of people who given the mass majority of information. You know what I mean? You got to question that shit, because there's a lot of shit being said, but they keeping everything one-sided. Man, I'm able to split that shit right down the middle. That's why I said they gonna have to pay out the ass if they let B go to Japan. Absolutely. The best bet is to make that fight next. Yeah, for sure. That's the best bet. But again, man, I know everybody got their own opinions, and that's fine. But my only thing is, bro, at least have some integrity, man. Like don't regurgitate and say the same shit the next man went on and said live, and the next man said live, and the next man said live. Because there's so much shit people could have pointed out, but never took the chance to point out. I guess I had to come, you know, uh, I had to be on the on deck circle and back clean up. I had to be on the on deck circle and back clean up. You know what I mean? Cause this shit just don't make sense to me, dog. It don't make sense to me. We talking about Eddie Hearn. Hold on and buckle your seatbelts. Exactly, bro. Exactly. See, Eddie, he suited that shit up so good. Jaron Ennis is a star, and rightfully so, Jaron Ennis is a star. But in the same breath, people not listening. If the man did 14,000 at home in Philly, then he turned back around, and I think they said he did a 10 piece. Then he turned back around and went to Atlantic City and did a 9 piece. You fucking right. If I'm a businessman such as Eddie Hearn, you fucking right. I'm gonna say, oh, he's a fucking star. I gotta go back home. You know why he's going back home? Because he went from 14,000 to 9,000. Fuck, I gotta take him back to Philly to get that 14 because I'm losing now. Shit, I'm losing now. And that ain't no shake, no shame on Boots at all. I'm talking about Forrest Eddie. You know what I mean? Listen, people tell you what it is when they talk. Said remove Jaron. Hey, now I slick just said that. Remove Jaron in his name and Sly Anthony Johnson. Same script. Same script. Now ain't nothing that I said tonight that ain't already been public. But name one person who brought up any of the shit that I just spoke about. And I ain't gotta say no names. Name one person who spoke any of what I just spoke about. All I had to do was just sit back and listen to what everybody had to say. And I never did hear anybody speak about what I just spoke about. Nobody. Not only is a fact, it's more than a valid point. But I hope this shit does happen next, man. You know what I'm saying? I really do. I know Brian looking to get back in the ring in June. We know that Eddie said that he was going to take Jaron back to Philly. We also know that Eddie said that him and Bob Aaron spoke. They want to make the fight. In the same breath, Eddie said, we're not waiting on nobody. Well, that's when I have to question, well, which one is it? Because if Brian Norman is in talks with Jen Sasaki or two other people, possibly a homecoming fight, If he isn't taught with other people's, I can guarantee you that Boots fight trumps everything. Guarantee you that. So in the same breath, Bob want to make the fight, but at the same time, we're not waiting. Why should Brian Norman wait? Jen Sasaki ready to pay him more than what Stanionis just got paid. You know what I mean? I'm just wanting to make sense, man. The worst thing he can do is be inactive right now. Yeah, man, this shit just. But I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over, man. But when y'all listen to y'all favorite YouTubers, just acknowledge that they ain't spoke on what I spoke on, and just listen to it. Just listen to it, man. But I'm gonna slide up off here, man. I'm finna go get me some rest for the night. But I had to speak about this subject, man. It's hot. Yeah, it's hot in the streets. You know what I'm saying? But I want to make sure my integrity is still intact and talk about what nobody ain't talking about. You did what I'm saying. But with that being said, I'm out, man. I appreciate everybody coming through, man. We gotta do this again because definitely got Thomas Lamana, Willie Lowe, my brother. What's happening? We got Thomas Lamana. I actually posted an interview with Thomas Lamana last week. I just never wrote him back because I just got busy. Thomas Lamana, one of my great friends. As you all know, he got a fight with Charlo coming up. You got a fight with Jamal Charlo coming up. So he definitely going to be in the building. Definitely got Breadman coming back to the building. You know what I'm saying? Just dropped a video and shout out to Gregory Carmichael because he got those videos of Najee Lopez. Y'all know Najee Lopez. His dad used to train me before he passed away. So that's like a little brother as well. Got an interview with Erickson Lubin getting ready to drop as well. Yeah. Coach Prentice coming back in here as well. So, yeah, I've been inactive, but I just feel like I gotta be the one with integrity to come back to this shit, man, and put people on the real shit, man, and stand on something, man. Yeah, the Hammer. I got an interview with Hammer. Gregory Carmichael got the interview, so he gave me, he gave me the interview to post, man, for sure. Yeah, Coach Prentice and Breadman for sure. I gotta bring back my boy Bernie. I gotta bring Bernie back too, because Bernie said some shit out of all the interviews I've watched, of all the people, Bernie and what's my boy name? Bernie and Mickey Bay. They said some shit that I gotta interview them too, because they said some shit that all these other people they've interviewed ain't said. So I'm listening. I'm writing it down like, oh, okay, so they see something. Okay, all right. So okay. But everybody else going with the same tune. And that's fine. It's cool. It's boxing. But you gotta have some integrity. Like I said, man, yeah, get some sleep, man. Get some sleep, man. Y'all, tell your favorite YouTube, man. They can't fuck with me. hey, man, I'm out, man. With that being said, man, y'all be easy. With that being said, I'm gone. And with that being said, hello, world.
Before the paper, I knew they would say, and I knew by the looks on their faces. Niggas mad cause I did what they wouldn't do, say what I couldn't do. Look, bitch, I made it. I made it. Came a long way from the basement. Fighting on me, I ain't playing, y'all. These niggas ain't playing fair. If I would've known better, I'd do better. Took some mess and I learned from a new level. Bought some new shovels and some new stressors, and I'm ready for war like whoever. They counted me out, I can't count it all. kill a nigga, I ball. I put them points on the board every time that I shoot, I'm a score, and you know I'm a dog. I'm really appalled, don't need no applause. I know I'm a legend, my name on the wall. First record with platinum, my second with gold. Did it independent, no deal at all. And they said it's impossible. Got them high cause I did them without them though. I'm the same nigga slept on the carpet floor. Even back then I knew that I'd be poppin', so I really ain't trippin'. I swear I ain't trippin'. I got in my feelings and got me a million. Couple people I thought would be with me, but they not, so it's fuck all them niggas.
And then you next.